While the crowd was pressing in on Jesus and listening to the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret. He saw 2 boats there alongside the lake. The fishermen had disembarked and were washing their nets. And getting into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, he asked him to put out a short distance from the shore. And he sat down and taught the crowds from the boat. And after he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into deep water and lower your nets for a catch." And Simon said in reply, "Master, we have worked hard all night and caught nothing. But at your command I will lower the nets." And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their nets were tearing. They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come help them. And they came and filled both boats so that they were in danger of sinking. And when Simon Peter saw this, he fell at the knees of Jesus and said, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man." For astonishment at the catch of fish they made seized him and all those with him, and likewise John and James, the sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. And Jesus said to Simon and to the others and to all of us, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you'll be working with me." When they brought their boats to the shore, they left everything and followed him. So picture yourself once again by this lake. This time it is evening. The sun just beginning to set. Big and red and orange and yellow in the sky. Slight breeze off the lake. You're tired after a long day of work. And Jesus approaches you. See him. See him seeing you. Hear him as he calls you by name. Hear him say, "Come follow me. From now on, you will be working with me." Name 3 ways, 3 times you have felt called by Jesus during your life. So we're going to talk this morning about this meditation called the call of the King, or the call of the kingdom, the call to the kingdom, the call to kingdom, however we want to frame that. But there's a challenge to it, I think, that I admit I struggle a little with. And that is, in the first part of this meditation, we're asked to consider a worldly leader whom we would follow to the ends of the earth. To imagine a king. And I have a problem with that. I find it difficult. As a 21st century American whose country threw off the shackles of oppressions and kings and royalty 245 years ago, I have a hard time connecting. And so what my brain wants to do, what my mind and my soul wants to do when I try to engage with this meditation is just skip this. Let's just skip it and move on to the second part. It's better anyway. Right? Let's move on to the part about Jesus calling us. And yet, there's something for us in this first part of the meditation. Ignatius, after all, was very smart, very ahead of his time. And who would I be to say, just skip that part? So I'd like to begin today by asking us to spend a few minutes considering maybe a different way of thinking about this first part of the meditation. Imagine yourself for a moment as a younger version of yourself, maybe into that first job, that first professional job, not our older, jaded, experienced selves. We're all too wise to follow some newfangled leader into some newfangled scheme, of course. But let's imagine ourselves before we've been duped and hurt by bad leaders. So here we are, we're this young professional, not long into this first position. Got that picture? The beginning of something? And imagine that you are generally very enthusiastic about this job, as a lot of young professionals are. You're happy to have a job. You're happy to have insurance. You're happy to have colleagues. Back in the days when people actually went to work and had colleagues. The company and its leadership maybe are not perfect, but you believe in the work that you're doing, whatever it is. And now imagine that there's a new leader in this organization. And you have heard about this new leader and what she has accomplished in her past. You have great respect for her or for him. She says, I've heard all about you. You have enormous potential, I hear. I would like you to come and work directly for me, to be my new right-hand person. Imagine how that might make you feel. And this person tells you that she's embarking on a new way of thinking about the organization, and she and her leadership team are going to build a new kind of organization where everyone is highly valued. Everyone is well paid. Everyone is respected and given a chance at work-life balance. They're going to focus on new ways of doing things that will change not only the organization, but if all goes well, will change the world. If all goes according to plan, poverty, disease, world hunger might be a thing of the past. People are talking about this person all over the world. Big change is on the way, and you have a chance to be at the center of it. You have a chance to make a difference in the world. And you have no reason not to believe this person. All signs point to her honesty, her integrity, her ability to get things done. People are talking about her everywhere. Big change is on the way. You have a chance to be at the heart of it. There's nothing in this proposal that makes you feel uneasy, that goes against your moral code, that goes against your ideals, that goes against your idea for your family and how you're going to support your family. It's going to be hard. The hours are going to be long. It's not a walk in the park. But there seems to be seemingly no reason to say no. So how do you respond? How do you feel? Now let's imagine ourselves as we sit here, right here today, with our own history, our own experiences of failure and success. Got that picture? Here we are. How God imagines you today. How God sees you today. And you think for a minute of your current life of faith, of where you stand with God, of where you stand with Christ and His church. And perhaps you are generally enthusiastic about this place in the world and the church right now. Perhaps you also know that this organization and its leadership and all its members are far from perfect. Still, you believe in the work you're doing, whatever it is. And imagine that Jesus walks in that door and stands here, and you have no doubt who he is. This is the Jesus that you have read about, the Jesus that you have worshiped. This is the Jesus to whom, to what extent or another, you have given your life to. This is the Jesus you know in your bones. Not the Jesus falsely presented to the world by different belief systems, by prosperity gospel preachers, by political leaders trying to earn votes. This is the real thing. You know it somewhere deep. You have no doubt. And Jesus says, I've been watching you. You seem to have great potential for leadership. I would like you to come work directly for me, to be my new right-hand person. Imagine how that would make you feel. And Jesus says he wants to build a new church where everyone is highly valued and highly respected, where no harm is ever done to anyone, and where everyone is welcome and included. He and his team are going to focus on a new way of doing things that will not only change the church, but the entire world. If all goes as planned, poverty, disease, and world hunger will be a thing of the past. The work will be hard and the hours will be long, but this is a chance to really make a difference in the world. And you have no reason to doubt that this is the real Jesus. All signs point to his authenticity and that he will be able to accomplish this project. People are talking about this new experience of Jesus all over the world. Big change is on the way, and you have a chance to be at the heart of it. There's nothing in this proposal that makes you feel uneasy or goes against your morals or your beliefs. And how do you respond? How do you feel? This is a call to relationship and more. This is a call to love and to purpose. This is a call that changes us forever. And this is a call that demands response. The power of this meditation for us today is that it's a call to labor with Christ, not just for him, with Christ. And like the first disciples, we are being called out of our comfort zones and away from our nets, away from whatever it is, however it is we spend our days. We are being called to let go of our perceived comforts and our freedoms. And yet, the question that really lingers for us, if we take this seriously, is not, should I do this, but why wouldn't I do this? Why? How can I possibly not do this? Christ summons the very best from us. It's a call to relationship, a call to remember that we are loved sinners, a chance to give proof of our love, a chance to distinguish ourselves not just in the world, but in our service to God and his dream for the world. It's a chance to offer God something more. This is our chance for Magis. It's our chance for greater service and generosity. We probably all know that the word Magis comes from a Latin word meaning the greater, the excellent, the best. And it is not for the faint-hearted and the lukewarm. It is associated with striving to do always better, to undertake the greater project, to set more ambitious goals. And that notion can be inspiring. And that notion can be intimidating. In considering the first call to the great worldly leader, Ignatius said that all those who have judgment and reason will offer themselves wholeheartedly for this labor. But then he urges us to consider something more, to go further still, to make offerings of greater worth and moment. We're asked to serve Jesus and the kingdom with something more than wholehearted service. And how is that possible? Seems like the athlete who's going to give us 110%, when that's not really possible. But this Magis is about more than wholehearted service. And that doesn't mean we need to be better than others or we need to accomplish more than others. It's about how we do this work. It's about our personal commitment to Christ more than it is about a restless type A overachieving personality. It's a question each of us can only answer for ourselves, and it's a question that we can only answer as we draw closer to Jesus. This doesn't happen on our own. It doesn't happen outside of Jesus. So we strive for both excellence and intimacy in our response, in being more loving for the kingdom. There is no place for mediocrity, no place for a meager response, because the stakes are too high. This is about laboring with Christ as a companion. In his book, Just As You Are, our friend Paul Coutinho writes that God is always bigger than anything we know about God and deeper than any experience we think we can have of God. And he suggests that we ask, do we have a relationship with God, or do we have a religion or a theology? And if we don't know the answer to that question, we don't have a relationship. It doesn't mean that religion and theology aren't important, but we must begin with the relationship. We may know about God, but that's not the same as knowing him. So this is a call to love and purpose. This is a meditation rooted in the first principle and foundation, and takes its theme from the idea of active indifference. This is a call to give a free response and to help others do the same. It's a call to follow, yes, but it's also a call to lead with a new kind of passion that is ignited by the chance to live in this love and to find our authentic purpose. In his book, The Ignatian Adventure, Father Kevin O'Brien asks us to imagine what this world would look like if everyone acknowledged God as Creator and Lord, and if everyone followed the law of love and life. This is the kingdom that Jesus spoke of over and over in the Gospels. So it's no accident that this meditation happens as we make that transition from the first to the second week, when we're about to begin this more intimate walk with Jesus of Nazareth. The transition from the first week to the second is a transition from our own anthropology to engagement with Jesus. So the grace that we pray for during this time is really to hear the call and be willing to do what is asked of us. We ask for a grace to return again to that colloquy before the cross, where we ask, what have I done for Christ? What am I doing for Christ? What ought I do for Christ? But the real question is, not only can we be transformed, but can we be transformed and respond out of love, out of real, deep, true, authentic love, and not some sense of obligation. This is a call that changes us forever. If the call of Jesus is more worthy of our response than a response to any other leader that we might encounter, then how can we say no? That seems simple to say, harder to do. But Ignatius gives us advice. When we begin to resist that call, we're apt to work against it. Because this is not an easy ask and it's not an easy yes. We may not want to hear it at all, because if we hear it, we know we have to respond. If we really believe it, we have to respond. We have to confront the question, why wouldn't we do this? And if we can't bring ourselves to ask for that grace, Ignatius says we work against that resistance. We ask the Spirit to give us desire. We ask the Spirit to give us an openness to hearing this call. We must be willing to share in God's vision of the world. And we know what that vision is. It's love. It's to love God with our whole heart and our whole mind and our whole selves and our souls, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. The call to love demands a response. So we ask God for what we know we want to be. We want to be the kind of people who will hear the call when we are summoned and be prepared to respond and follow God's lead. We need to taste with the same zeal that the disciples tasted. To know something in our gut in the same way that they knew it, that made them drop their nets and follow this guy who they didn't even know that well. Can we conjure up that kind of zeal? And as we enter the second week of the exercises, we re-engage with Jesus and his friends. And we ask ourselves every day, what does Christ's call stir up in me? What greater, what more am I possibly able to do because I'm responding to this call?